And welcome back again. So yesterday we talked about translations of an object. Now your warm-up is what does it mean to translate a point? So you might need to go back to those notes yesterday and remember. Okay. So yesterday we translated points and lines, and today we're going to focus more on shapes. Okay, big shapes. So remember, translation is moving something up or down or left to right, or a combination thereof. Okay. So I have this rectangle, and in case you can't see it, I didn't actually draw lines between the points, so I'm going to draw it now. So I'm going to connect all my points. Okay, and I have a cute little rectangle. Now I want to translate the whole shape, just like I did my line yesterday, okay? So the first part, there's two parts to this question. So there's part A and part B. Okay. Now I'm actually going to label these points A, B, C, and D. So that way I can label them A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. Remember, we talked about that at the end of yesterday's video. So the first part is translate this rectangle 5 units to the left and 1 unit down. So I'm going to start with A here, and I'm going to move it 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 unit down. So this is my new A. So I'm going to call this A prime. Okay. Now, again, I could say, okay, well, I know that B is 3 away from A, so I'd go 1, 2, 3, and that's B. Or I could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the left and 1 unit down. And it doesn't really matter because we're going to get the same answer anyways. Now, instead of translating it every time, I'm going to say, okay, well, this is 2 units away from A, so this is going to be D prime. B is 2 units from C, and so that's going to give me C prime. Okay, so you can see I just need to move that shape. So really only the first point you have to really translate. And again, if I draw the lines between my points, I get this cute little rectangle again. So that was the first translation. Now the second translation, it says translate from the original 4 units down. So they want me to move my rectangle, the original rectangle, 4 units down. So I'll start with A here and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I don't want to call it A prime because this one's already A prime. So I'll call it A double prime, and I'll just put 2, like a quote mark. So I'll put 2 little dashes. So it's A double prime because it's our second rectangle that we're making from this, right? And I can see that B is going to be straight across right down here. So that's B double prime. C is 2 units from B. So C double prime, D is 2 units from A, D double prime. And again, let me get a different color here. We're going to draw our cute little rectangle, right? So I actually translated this shape twice on the same graph, which is perfectly fine. You can do that, or you can do it on separate graphs if you'd like to, okay? Now, sometimes they won't actually make you graph it, okay? They might say, okay, here's the point. What would the new point be if I translated it this way? Now, if you are uncomfortable with the way I'm about to show you, you can always graph it, okay? I'm not going to mark you down for that. But this is how you would do it, okay? So this is something that should go on the note card, like right now, today, so that way you can use it in your homework, okay? So you can find the translated point without having to graph it, which is what I just said. If you're moving to the right, so if you're moving this way on your graph, you're going to add that amount to the X value. If you're moving to the left, so moving this way, you'll subtract from the X value, whatever that point is, okay? If you're moving up, so if I'm moving up, which Y is getting bigger this way, right? I add to the Y value. If I moved something down, I would subtract from the Y value. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because if I'm going up, the Y's are getting bigger. If I'm going down, the Y is getting smaller. If I move to the right, X is getting bigger. If I move to the left, X is getting smaller, okay? So let's just practice this a little bit. So I'm going to give you the point 5, 3. Find the new point when you do the following, okay? So A, I have the point 5, 3. And it wants me to go 5 units up. So up means I add to the Y value. So I'm going to add 3 to the Y value. And 3 units to the right means I'm adding 3 to the X value. So I'm going to add 3. So my new point for A is going to be 8, 8. And I can graph that and test my theory and make sure that I'm right here, okay? Now B, I'm going to start with the same point again, 5, 3. That's 2 units down. So if I'm doing 2 units down, that means I subtract from the y value. So remember, it's x comma y is always the second point, and I'm going to subtract 2 from that. Now I didn't do anything to the x, so I'm just going to leave it. It's 5 comma 1, because 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so C now, again, I'm still starting with 5 comma 3. 4 units down, so down means I subtract from the y value, so I'm going to subtract that. And 6 to the right, that means I'm going to subtract from the x value 6 units. So if I do that, 5 minus 6 is negative 1, 3 minus 4 is negative 1, so I have the point negative 1, negative 1. Okay. Now your exit slip is to start again, so D, you're going to start with 5 comma 3, 2 units up, and 3 units to the left. Okay, so I want you to change this one and tell me what that new point is going to be. Your homework is number 5, 7 through 9, and 11. Please take your time on this and make sure this stuff gets on a note card, and then you'll be ready and ready to go when the test comes, okay? Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.